Welcome. My name is Fran, and you are listening to the Cookware Manufacturers Association podcast. One of the CMA's goal is to keep our members informed. In this podcast, our guest is Rick Babick from Design Research, and you can find more information about Design Research on their website, www.designres.com. That's DESIGNRES.com. You can find more information about the association on our website, cookware.org. Hi, Rick, and welcome to our podcast.
Hello, Fran. How are you?
I'm doing well today. And where are you joining us from?
We're actually located in Lawrenceville, New Jersey, which is kind of the center of New Jersey, right midway between New York and Philadelphia. It's a great spot.
Fantastic. So we're kind of neighbors. I'm down here at the shore. So we're both enjoying some beautiful weather today. Let's tell our audience briefly about who Design Research is, and then I have a few questions that will help the listeners understand why that's important.
Great. Okay, well, Design Research is a custom market research company. We are starting our 22nd year tomorrow, actually. We work in consumer durable goods pretty much exclusively, and the vast majority of our work is really in housewares. We like to say that our unique expertise is at the intersection of research and design. And we're the only research company that we know of that speaks design. And by design, I mean both decorative and functional design. We have a wealth of experience integrating design with other product features like brand, price, country of origin, material, etc. Because most research companies don't do that. They don't speak the language of design. Many of our clients are designers. That's kind of like our sweet spot, if you will.
That's fantastic. And 22 years, congratulations. That's incredible. So
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun.
It sounds like it. And when you love it, it's no work, right? It's just
That's exactly right.
So since you've been in the housewares industry for more than 20 years, what are your observations on the state of the industry today from the standpoint of a researcher?
Well, it's interesting. We're members of the IHA. We have been for many years. In fact, we do presentations at the show. We've been doing them every year now for about 15 years. My frank assessment is that housewares is a brutal industry. We did some research 2 years ago for the IHA and cookware and bakeware, and at the time we were tracking 75 brands of cookware and 67 brands of bakeware. Of those 75 brands of cookware, 29 had shares over 1%, and 26 of the bakeware brands had shares over 1%. That's a really brutal competitive industry. And at a time when, we know retail opportunities are shrinking due to the pandemic, and we know there's a rapid transition to online selling, it's a tough time. I mean, some of the retailers are gone. You can't sell to a store that doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of it is switching over to online, and I think no one really knows the selling capacity of online versus in stores. Is it going to enlarge markets? Is it going to shrink markets? I don't think it's ever been tougher than it is today.
I would agree with you. It's been an interesting ride, especially then compounded with what's just happened with COVID. Now, having touched on what you see as the state of the industry, can we focus in a little for our members of the implications to cookware and bakeware manufacturers?
Yeah. Well, I think actually that cookware and bakeware manufacturers are in the same boat everybody else is, in that now I think we're in a situation where every new product has to work. There's no room for also-rans. I suspect that the potential for easy line expansions, like other color choices or sizes or whatnot, I think that those easy low-hanging fruit are going to shrink in quantity. What previously made sense on a shelf next to a successful product may not work today because may not be on a shelf anymore. It may appear many pages later on a website. We're all doing our shopping by simply clicking on an icon like the Amazon icon. So what's coming up is the top 10 or 15 products. It's not the same as walking through a store and maybe going for item A, but seeing a really pretty display or interesting display of totally different items and say, then saying, oh, gee, that's really nice. I think, look at that, and so the serendipitous purchase may well, the impulse purchase may be gone. I mean, I know Amazon, for example, puts other things up in front of you, so suggesting other things, but you may not have any interest in those other things. And oftentimes they're also suggesting books and totally, things from totally other product categories. I think more than ever, products have to stand on their own as being great products.
That's really interesting points. And it's, we're facing unique times and people are spending their money carefully. Like you said, picking the products off the shelf, they have to work. And
yes.
Along that line, so then this kind of starts to lead us in the direction of product research. So what's the value of product research?
The best way to think about product research, in our opinion, is to think of it as the best insurance you'll ever buy. You buy all types of business insurance to protect against all kinds of risks that may never happen. But when you're introducing new products, you're facing risk every time. There's always a risk of product failure, but and it's well documented, and this has been true for decades, that the new product failure rate is about 80%. But product testing through research is insurance against new product failure. The way I look at it is it's much cheaper to discontinue the investment in a product that consumers don't want than it is to take it all the way through the expense of tooling and manufacture and packaging and shipping and all that, only to have it fail in the marketplace, and then have to take it back and sell it off, at a deep discount and eat all those development costs. Not to mention the fact that you're also damaging your reputation with a retailer who you said, hey, trust me, this is going to be a great product. If it's a disappointment, you've slid somewhat in the perceptions of that retailer as well. So we like to say it's better to fail with small dollars in research and then succeed with big dollars with the products that consumers want, which were identified by research. I mean, the cost of testing a product, a single product, is generally, assuming that you've got a group of products, the cost of testing a single concept, it could be as low as $1,000. But the cost of developing a single product and bringing it to market is tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the product category. So that's why we say, fail with small dollars in research, succeed with big dollars for real.
That's a fantastic way to look at it. And it sounds a lot like preventing the problems from getting to the selling floor, which is a huge battle and a huge savings of time and money. I mean, what goes into a single product development project takes teams of people, and it sounds like your research, like you said, can save a lot on the back end and could save a project.
Really, well, that's right. It could.
You can put it on the right path.
Right, absolutely.
So this is really valuable information. So how might you recommend new product opportunities are identified?
When you listen to consumers through research, you're following what might be described as a disciplined course, step-by-step process of listening to consumers, a formalized process. And the process of shopping online adheres much more closely to the logic of selecting the best possible product than the process of shopping in-store did. In-store works well by physically presenting like products together. Online enables easy sorting by all the key characteristics like brand, price, type, material, size, color. So it means that products need to be able to stand out on their own. And the process of shopping online and being structured to promote this logical decision process is actually very, very close to the decision path used in consumer research. Thus, when we're talking to consumers and either evaluating products or seeking new product ideas, what we're really trying to do is we're explaining the consumer decision-making process and preferences. It's indispensable to new product development, testing, and decision-making today. In other words, what we're doing prior to you're actually developing the product is simulating what a consumer might do if they were looking online for a product right now. And we're helping you to identify all of the key variables that consumer is looking for, and hopefully helping you to guide you to that product before you have to go through all of the trouble of actually taking a flyer on what you think is a good idea and spending a lot of time and money on it.
I think this is a great time because you've given us a lot of great insight into research and the power and importance of it. And I think I'd like to take one step back and let people know about how this all came about and where design research was born. You mentioned the IHA before, and you and I met because I became a big fan of your American Kitchen study that you released at that Chicago show, which I believe was 2 years ago. And when we met, you had shared a really specific experience related to research from your days at Lennox. Would you share that story and what you learned from it?
I was sort of wet behind the ears getting a job, and it's only my second job in research, and I took a job as the research manager at Lennox China and Crystal. At the time, the company was kind of a sleepy manufacturing company, putting out a few patterns a year, but a new management team was in, and they were looking to really turn it into a sophisticated marketing organization, and they saw a lot of opportunity to introduce a lot more product. But the challenge was how to grow share by introducing more desirable patterns. I had no experience in a design-focused industry at all. And on my first day, they walked me into a conference room and showed me the walls. They said, "This is your conference room." We call it the Market Research Conference Room. And the walls had the top 50 patterns in fine china, casual dinnerware, crystal stemware, and flatware. So I took a blank piece of paper and sat down and thought to myself, well, how hard can this be? And I started studying, looking for patterns. And after a couple hours, I found myself saying, what have I gotten myself into here? I had no idea why any of those, there was a great variety of designs and patterns, and I had no idea why one was at the top and one was at the bottom or whatever. So I thought, I'd better figure this out. So I took the top 100 patterns in China out to a mall intercept facility. I had them interview women who were in the market for China. And I just did a free-form interview saying, what do you like? And I learned two things. First, everybody had patterns that they liked. And I also learned that they really couldn't explain why beyond, it's really pretty and I like it. And no matter how hard I pressed, I couldn't get beyond that. So what I learned is that consumers don't have a language for design. They have a visual understanding of design, but they can't vocalize it very well, which led me to the conclusion that I had to do quantitative research, meaning interviewing a great many people to find out what they liked, to go from there and start doing quantitative testing, which is what we did. And the company was great. They gave me the time and the money. And so I did the first study, and one pattern stole half the votes in the survey, which was alarming because I thought, well, the survey design wasn't very good if one pattern got half the votes. But we were, in the development process. So I turned around and tested the test again with another group of patterns, but had that same strong one in it and got the same result. And management didn't even like that pattern. But a few more tests on, as we were going from paper at the time to hand paints on plates, and finally to first prints, we kept testing this pattern and it kept scoring really well. Well, fortunately for me, the research was right. It took the factory 2 years to catch up with the demand for that pattern. And the value of that of research in general was then set at Lennox. We invested heavily in it for years. I had 10 people. We were doing 75 studies a year. But what was really important to me from a strategic standpoint is that all of that work enabled me to do meta research, which is to say research on the research. It gave me the situation that I could analyze the various questions we were asking in our surveys and then compare the results of those questions to the actual sales performance of each pattern that we tested. And this yielded an understanding of the most indicative projectable questions to ask consumers about new products, along with some statistical rules that we could apply. We still employ this proprietary decision-making system today in everything that we do for our clients. And I think our clients understand that it's working because we have a great 85% client retention rate. Many of our clients are just doing the same types of testing over and over again because they see the value of it and they see the value of sharing the results with the retailers. Sorry for that long explanation.
No,
but that's
I
my
love
history.
the story.
I couldn't get into it.
No, I love this, and that's why I wanted to bring it up here. I think it's one of those examples of necessity is the mother of invention. You were faced with a problem and you made it work, and look what it's produced, and look what it did for the history of Lennox. Let's take a quick break here to remind our listeners that you are listening to the Cookware Manufacturers Association podcast. Rick is sharing insight and experience on the value of design research. You can find more information about Rick on their website, www.designres.com. That's DESINGRES.com. And you can find more information about the Cookware Manufacturers Association on our website at cookware.org. So let's get back to the conversation. Rick, for the lessons from your Linux experience, how do they apply to cookware and bakeware manufacturers? Is it a different housewares category?
No, I think that the lessons are really universal. We still use the same decision principles in a variety of product contexts. Now, of course, that situation at Lennox was really decorative design, but we've since expanded to include, functional design as well as decorative. And I can say that after, many years of applying these decision principles, that they really work universally. And I also want to add to it that along the way, we've also learned the importance of always using controls in our testing. That can be the client's other products that they know are successful, or it could be top competitive products, because when we come in with the results, we're not only able to tell the client how the new product, or new concepts or new products or new designs are faring in their own right, but we can also explain it how they're doing in light of known quantities, that either the client's own products or the best-selling products in the market. That has not only the benefit of sharing, of informing the client on the value of which products to pursue and develop, but at the end of the process, that client can then walk into a retailer meeting with their results and say, you should take our new product over the competitor's product that you have on the shelves now, because our new product was preferred by a qualified set of your consumers by, X percent. That makes for a very effective sales pitch. Think about it this way. I go into a buyer and I say, isn't this product great? I showed it to my wife and she loves it, and I showed it to my mother-in-law and she loves it. You should take it. Versus somebody coming in saying, we interviewed 500 consumers who purchased this product category in your store in the past 3 months, and we tested it against the top-selling products that you have on the shelves now, and this one is better than your top-selling product, or maybe it's better than your second best-selling product, and that's why it should be on your shelves now. Which one of those pitches do you think the retailer is going to go with?
That is powerful. That is very powerful. It could eliminate the whole pricing debate. If you can prove the consumer interest, you're light years ahead of, and can really help the retailer focus what they need to do. That's incredible.
Well, we think so, and we've got clients who feel that way, and they now present everything to retailers using research.
Well, it would not be an interview if we didn't bring up the subject of the day, which is how has the COVID epidemic come up in your research?
Well, we're seeing the same things that, we're reading that people are saying in general. Of course, people are stuck at home. They're adjusting to life at home as sort of the new normal. We're seeing more purchases of groceries, for example, buying more groceries by volume because they want to go to the store less often, or of course buying, via purchasing services. We're seeing more time spent at home cooking and baking, but also, a tendency toward trying new recipes and that sort of thing. And of course, also a lot more comfort food because of the general level of anxiety that people are experiencing. I think indirectly all of that probably affecting cookware and bakeware as it is, most other categories in the home today. And of course, a lot more online purchasing.
It's a really good point. And home has been a big focus of sales research during COVID times because people bought new cookware, they bought new appliances, kitchen countertop appliances and such because they were cooking at home more. And all of the research you presented, and the pressure is going to be on in the coming months to continue to deliver products. And everything you said today touches to what the challenges our manufacturers members are going to face. So if you were to explain if one of our members were interested or anyone is interested, how would a manufacturer prepare new product research? What do they have to do?
They don't need to know how to conduct research. They need to say what it is, what decisions they need to make. And that might be anything ranging from we need new ideas for new products to we have a number of products in our development pipeline and we want to make sure they're all viable, or we want to pick the best one. It's our job to translate that into actionable decision criteria that can be answered through research. It's our job to deliver the information in the clearest, most meaningful, decision-informing way. And to make sure we write very detailed proposals, it's important that the proposal communicates what the client is going to get and how it's going to answer their questions. So really, they don't need to know very much other than just what, to communicate the situation. And then we go back and forth with them until we mirror exactly what it is that they're seeking to know. That's our job.
It sounds like you have a nice, simple process for them, and simple is always good. So then the next question, which would be critical to anyone interested, with time being more valuable than ever, many companies are now on very tight schedules and fast timelines. So how long does your testing process, your research process take?
Well, actually, we're pretty quick. The vast majority of our work is online, which is fast turnaround. So from the time that you give us the products to test, which, can be anywhere from, if you're ready to go, it could be tomorrow, or, you could be months in development. But when you have your stimulus materials ready, we will have the questionnaire ready. And basically, when that all comes together and you review the online version, then the odds are that we'll have the results to you in about 3 weeks.
That's fantastic. That's great timing at the speed of how product development cycles work in-house. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Rick. Just to remind our listeners, you're listening to the Cookware Manufacturers Association podcast. We really appreciate your insight and information, Rick, but I do have 2 final questions. Do you do other types of research?
Yeah, we're not just product. We're a full-service supplier, so we conduct research on all aspects of a client's business, from product development to and testing to advertising, packaging, branding, brand awareness, you name it, pricing, in-home product testing. There's really a broad variety of things that we can do for you. And thank you for asking that, by the way.
Yeah, no problem. My last question is, if people want to learn more, is there a way to keep in contact with you, email list, blog, anything like that?
Sure. Just go to our website, sign up for our blog posts, and we'll be reaching out to you every 2 weeks or so. By any means, if anyone has any specific questions, I invite you to email me at rick@designres.com. I'd be very happy to answer any questions. No obligations, of course.
Well, Rick, I really appreciate your time, and thank you for joining this podcast for the CMA.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, in closing, my name is Fran Groesbeck, and we are recording for the Cookware Manufacturers Association. You can find my contact information and more at our website, cookware.org. The association has proven a valuable resource to our members, and we maintain and update the engineering standards for production of cookware and bakeware. We provide timely statistical reporting, resources for retailers, including cookware training guides, and members network with the best in our industry. And of course, real-time links to podcasts like this one. You could find more information at cookware.org, and you'll find this podcast and others in the member section of our website, cookware.org, available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play.